I'm thinking about the incredible changes, transformations, reclamation through the healing work I've done with women, and to be able to see them showing up with this complete change in their vitality, their life force energy, the brightness in their eyes when they have a year later, 6 months later, whatever it is. It doesn't need to be a year. These changes can happen in in light speed, which is amazing. But to see people arrive at that place where they are integrated inside of themselves, and this is what I'll say, you're empowered. You're empowered. The power is coming from within. You have recognized all these aspects of yourself and integrated them, and you are whole. And they're like, yes, I feel it. I feel great. I'm like, you look great. I can tell you're feeling great. And it's amazing. I had a session like that just this week of the reflection and celebration on this unveiling is almost what I want to say, because what we're seeing now is not new, it's just reclaimed and integrated, right? This empowerment. It's amazing. I love it. I love it. And a wonderful friend of mine was, I know this is a common thing, but this was the first time I heard this phrase. Was this friend of mine had shared it about this balance. And now I'm trying to think, like, did this person share it, or did it come through an energy healing session for this person? Probably a combination of both. And it is about the lion and the lamb analogy. And Dave Chappelle, his latest special on Netflix, he said this as well. And he said it in slightly different language than I've heard it before, which was a story, I think, from his mother, maybe, or his grandmother, saying to him, sometimes you need to act like a lion so that you can be the lamb that you are. And the duality of that is a critical piece of this integration and empowerment that I've seen in the women that I've worked with. And obviously, that is not exclusive to gender. I think that integration and the ability to come into this wholeness, this divine union within of balanced energy, where we can really hold both of those pieces of ourselves, the primal things inside of us, the nature. That's also where a seed of intuition is integrated into the soft and highest truth of your divine essence, which is the frequency of love. This is the frequency of true love energy, right? This is what we are made from when we are able to ascend to that place of enlightenment. And my daughter is a very spiritual being, very spiritual being. There are stories about this from the time, really, she has such a critical role in where I'm at today, professionally and personally, obviously, but spiritually, psychically, the gifts that I've experienced, the unfolding, my own reclamations. And when I was pregnant with her, there were several people in my family that were rather extended relatives who just happened during that year to go see psychic mediums with likely no interest in hearing information about me because they were rather extended family members, and came back to me to say, hey, they mentioned that somebody in my family was pregnant with a baby girl, and that baby is a highly spiritual being. And that was said to 2 or 3 people that got back to me. I'm like, yeah, no doubt. and and this was the time where I was just being initiated into remembrance and reclamation of my true nature, which is the eternal part of myself living inside of this vessel, or rather, the life force energy that my body is living inside of right now. So there's a lot of beautiful telepathic type of communication that happens between the two of us, and it's just, so fluid. It's sometimes hard to even describe that. It's amazing, but this is how spirit works through all of us that are interconnected. And when people come and sit down with me, I try to make sure they leave knowing that the reason I was able to provide them with the information, the messages, the validation, the connection to their person, if they're coming in for something that's more of a mediumship type of thing, and even when they're coming in and it's messages that are coming from their spirit team, their guardian angels, right? Not necessarily a human being who's passed that they knew in this lifetime. But the point is, I make sure that they leave knowing your person's not with me, and you need to come to see me in order for me to deliver that information to you. That energy is so quantum entanglement, so connected into your essence. You travel with it. You travel with that. You came in with it to my office. When you sat down, then I connected into your energy field, your people that you travel with, regardless of what dimension they're in, right? And that is how I'm able to provide that. But you will leave with all of that. It doesn't stay in my office. You came in with it. Yes? And so she and I have that quantum entanglement too. We're very connected on that level. And it'll be just a random example. It'll be 2 months have gone by since I bought this one particular vegetable, and I just forget about it, or it's not in the rotation. And then I'll be thinking in my mind, and I had not said anything about it, at a random time when I'm not grocery shopping and I'm at home and I'm just like heating up my coffee or something. I'll be thinking inside of my mind, I haven't got carrots at the store in a very long time. I should put that on the list for next time. Immediately, she says out loud, Mom, can you put carrots on the grocery list for next time? I'm like, ah! I love it. I love it. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I had been having some more of this empowerment energy, this duality energy, these reflections around a lot of this energy of sometimes you have to act like a lion so that you can be the lamb that you are, and integrating that in a deeper way so that it doesn't stay in such a two column separation, right? Lion here, lamb here. Sometimes I'm this, sometimes I'm that. Like, just to, well, who am I really? The integration of that, sitting for a while. Like, part of that human and primal, which part of that is my God essence energy, and all these kind of things that's just marinating a little bit. And she puts on this shirt that she has that says wild on it. And she is very smart, very good reader, very good reader. That doesn't like, that's one particular way that I see that, but she's smart in so many different ways and domains. And so she's heard the word wild and she knows what that means on a certain level. But she says, and this is things I'm already thinking of, and I had been thinking to myself, it'd come up from spirit so many different times in ways like this in my mind from other people saying things where I'm like, okay, I've got enough signs and clarity. I need to purchase this book, Women Who Run with Wolves. And I won't get into all the signs and synchronicities around that because it'll just get too lengthy, right? But I had just been thinking about all of this, and that wild woman archetype is a predominant through line in women who run with wolves. And so none of this is information I have said out loud to her. And she says, Mom, I say, yeah, hon, what does wild mean? What does wild mean? She knows what wild means on a human level. But I knew spiritually she's asking me this for a different reason. And so I had been thinking about when people see a child who is full of energy and maybe sometimes not following rules or listening and having some unsavory, undesirable, socially undesirable behavior of people like, oh my gosh, they're wild. That child is wild. Oh, stuff like that, where we can say that about, we can use that word in a pejorative way. And so I was thinking about that. So I wanted to give her a definition of wild that had a sacred energy to it. And so that's what I talked about is, wild is used for when things are in the wild. They are part of nature and there's a natural instinct to it. And we all have a piece of that inside of us, right? Like there are things inside of you that you don't need to be taught by somebody else, that you instinctually just have because it's a part of your nature, and that is there for you. It's there for a reason, and it's there to honor. And this, I didn't go much further than that. It was a rather simplified version of that. But right now I'm saying this connects into one of the videos, one of the recordings about sacred fortress, right? It is there for a reason to be honored. And it ties into me, for me, into that sense of sometimes you have to act like a lion so that you can be the lamb that you are. And I remember very clearly periods of a time not too long ago, I'd say within the last 2 years, where I was like fighting a fight and I was feeling like that sacred fortress protection reclamation was front and center and needed to be. It needed to be. But after I would have moments of having to be a lion. And that was you can even feel in the way that I am stuttering or hesitating, that what that brought up for me was a sense of discomfort with fully stepping into that lion type of energy, because I just had such an identification and attachment linked to the lamp part of me, which is true, but this is like the duality of two things can be true. You are both of these things. And after I would have an instance of having to be pushed into the lion, it took a bit for me to integrate that and to set with it. So I would call some of my supports, one being my sister, and process that out, because she knows the heart of me. She knows the heart of me. She knows. She knows. And so I'm like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about having to have stepped up in that way. I don't feel good about having to been fierce like that. Like, I'm not happy about being pushed into being a lion right now. It's not who I am, but I have to be that right now. And it's like, it is who you are. It is who you are. Because where does that come from? It's coming from love. It's coming from love. And when you're in that lion energy, it is not something to be ashamed about. It is not something to recoil from, right? This is a part of your essence, your energy, your energy. It is socially crafted. and rained down upon us through the sexism that is still I'm thinking about like humidity in the air of like droplets where even though it's not raining down, it's the air is still full of humidity, right? The air is still full of sexism. It has not been washed out, obviously. And this is where the sense of recoil and feel ashamed and question who you are and carry fear after a moment of embracing that lion energy, which gets so deeply internalized. We all need, as women, the opportunity to sit in a sacred space with other women, where the reclamation of that energy and integrating it into this does not mean that I'm not a lamb. It is a part of the lamb. This is one creature. This is one creature. What is that word for something that like morphs into? All I can think of is a transformer, but it's not that. It's you know, like this energy is amorphous, and the truth of your soul essence stays the same, whether the what is called for is the lion part of that or the lamb piece of that. Okay, I just took a pause there for a session, and I have to just add one more little thing here to this, because as I wrap this up and am returning to export it, I just remembered something that happened this morning that I'm just like amazing confirmation on this theme and recording. Okay, amazing. As I was getting the kids in the car this morning and pulling out, my daughter started to roar, and it was the cutest little roar, like "Rawr," kind of thing. Like I can't even do it, but it was so cute, and it truly sounded like a little lion cub. And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's so cute! I love that roar." And she just kept roaring like that, doing a couple, and just like, yeah, this is a lion roar and I do it like this. And it was just so random, right? But not, because confirmation on this. I literally had not put two and two together until I am about to um, export this and thinking, like, is this good? Is this on point? Is this spiritually driven? And then that popped into my head of her doing that roar this morning. I'm like, yes, 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 girl, yes. Reclaim your roar. Reclaim your roar. It's like it belongs to you, right? And this is what I'm feeling as even right now, over a year later from where I was in those conversations of going, I'm not happy about being pushed into having to pull out the lion. And now on this side of it, I'm just like, thank you for pushing me into the reclamation, because this roar belongs to me and I will not abandon it. And it fits together with the lamb. It's not a contradiction.